is Tyler Pappas from TYSPEED, and welcome to the 101st running of the Pikes Peak International Hillclimb. I am just really happy to have followed my internal voice and passion for all these years that have allowed me the courage to do this against so many odds. I think that the pursuit of being a racer is a pretty impossible persona to identify as. It takes a lot of different parts that are all moving very fast to work together. I think especially if you're not born into it, you really have some form of success with it. You should know that every time that you go, it's the same story over and over again, which is there are no free lunches at Pikes Peak. And it is going to take everything that you have to make it to race day and to make it to the top of that mountain. And if you're unwilling to sacrifice all of that to be there, you should never load your trailer. So just finished up running qualifying this morning, bottom section. Car ran great. Honestly, I was pretty impressed with the speed that we had. I was able to cut a few seconds off each time. I'd say today went great. I mean, considering the fact that I thought we weren't even going to make it to the race, and then after getting here and breaking that shock and thinking that we still weren't going to make it to the race, and then getting the tech inspection and thinking that we still weren't going to make it to the race. It's been a few years since I've been here, so I do kind of remember it, but at the same time, it's a curvy road and there's 156 turns and a lot of them look alike, so it's hard to memorize. But the car felt great, the temps were good, the tires hooked up well, brakes felt good, so really no complaints. I mean, I think we got ourselves a pretty decent car for this race. So tomorrow will be section 2. That's the middle ground. It's the easiest section to drive because it's pretty much just back and forth, like left, right, left, right, left, right, in between like these climbing W's. It's the hardest section on the car. So tomorrow will be kind of more about like understanding some data. How does it climb, watching the temperatures, stuff like that. Unfortunately, this car is going to be at its best, which is down in this bottom section. So the best chance that we got of doing well is by setting a fast time in sector 1.
So I guess he's having a little bit of trouble. It's running a little lean. So we might make an adjustment. We got the inverter fired up in the car to charge the laptop. And we realized that the oxygen flow that he had, his little portable bottle on, was way too high. So we're almost out of oxygen already. It's going to be a long day.
No, it's reset now.
Okay. So you can reset both like that?
It's on the one bank and it was 1-0 on the other. 1-0 is perfectly in this course.
So that's right there.
7. Yeah, see if it's a finger. So we're looking at a couple things here. Well, the first start this morning, the dash was reading a little funny for the lambda value, which is your air-fuel ratio. We're pretty high up, 11,000 plus feet right now, so it makes sense that the engine's not running right, but one bank is reading different than the other, and I've got some fault codes for a bad oxygen sensor, so I just reset it. Didn't immediately come back, but I did notice right now when I looked in there again, the lambda value is still off. So my guess is going to be that when we get back to the dealership today, we're probably going to have to replace an oxygen sensor. Morning, guys. We're coming at you from section 2. We are starting at about 11,500 feet, working our way up through the climbing section today. Today's the most difficult section on the car. This thing is going to be probably struggling in altitude. Having a little bit of a tuning issue this morning. I think we're going to be able to get it resolved later after we're off the mountain. I don't think it's anything too critical, but that is something to be concerned with for the duration of practice today, so I got to keep a close eye on that. Pretty freaking cold up here. Definitely a lot colder than yesterday, and right now it's still dark. We're waiting for the sun to come up so we can get some better sighting on our first sighting lap of the morning. So cars are starting to run right now. We're going to get ready, get the car prepped, and get going on our first run of the day. I started racing bicycles, because my parents wouldn't let me ride a dirt bike because they thought it was too dangerous. Unfortunately for them now, we're doing the most dangerous race in the world, but so that escalated pretty out of control, I would say. But putting it all on the line every time you get behind the wheel of that car during practice. And your brain is literally like using your body physically to compute at that level, at that speed to drive up that mountain. So there's a lot of room for error. And so we had like a few little like hiccups. As I thought. I did, however, leave an abundance of tools in my truck and they were knocking around at high speed.
Okay, so here's the thing, you guys. When you're racing a big race like this,
Yeah.
it's easy to get complacent, right? So, should we show them what's in the trunk?
Yeah, we should go get it.
Let's show them what's in the trunk. Come on with me, guys, for a second right here.
In case I was at the top and I needed to change the tire, I would just do it there.
Torque wrench.
And bleed the brakes as well. As a mechanic, I become very preoccupied with the mechanicals of the car when that happens. And then, like, there's this trade-off of, like, focused driver and then, like, car mechanic engineer guy where I'm like, am I damaging the car? Is there going to be a bigger problem? Is this going to affect us in our ability to get to race day? Like, should we even be driving? That happens and you lose your focus, like to just drive the car, you know, the time comes way down and or goes way up, I should say, and I start getting like very spacey. 10 days is not a lot of time to reach out to any of my contacts that I have in the world. We're going there with the mentality of just getting the car to the top of the mountain, not to be competitive per se, right? We're just trying to make sure that the car runs. If you're going there to be competitive and run at the top of a division, you're bringing a tire engineer, you're bringing a suspension guy, you're bringing a tuner. You know, you're bringing people that really know, and you're bringing maybe a qualified mechanic to help you so that I'm not getting out of the car in my driver's suit in between practice sessions to adjust the shocks or to check the tire pressures or whatever have you. But we didn't have that. So then you have family. So my brother, based heavily in aviation, which requires a lot of planning and logistics, understanding of safety. So I think he actually was a pretty qualified candidate to have along.
A whirlwind, you know, it was nonstop. Thank God for Ryan Pappas, like keeping us all cool.
Hey there, I'm in the car with TYSPEED from TYSPEED Automotive, Bag of Fly Sky Car.
What's it feel like to be a racing driver?
It feels pretty good, except for the fact that when you do get in the cars after 7 days of barely eating and showering or anything, I probably couldn't do this sport. I'm also sketched out of lifts. I had this since I was a kid growing up with Tyler, and that's probably why I ended up in an airplane and not in a race car. It's a little scary.
It was quick and it was fast and everything was moving at a mile a minute and we were just trying to keep it together.
Morning guys, coming at you this time from 13,000 feet. We're incrementally climbing up the mountain for practice. We're going to be testing the most difficult section today. It's the bumpiest, it's the highest risk, it's the scariest to drive. So it's cold, we got the tire warmers going, got the crew here, they got the car ready for me. I'm going to get ready, get out for the first session, but looking forward to getting a few runs in today and getting this upper section memorized for race day. So, ready to go. He said about this whole mentality of being a racer, it actually fuels for me this little bit of like imposter syndrome, where you are now at this event where you are standing shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow with people that you grew up watching on TV, that I grew up wanting to be like, okay? And now I'm sitting in the same room and I'm at the same driver's meeting as them, and I'm in the same building as them. I'm on camera like them, and it's just this really surreal thing. You're asking yourself the whole time you're there, like, well, who am I? You're trying to emulate in a way because you see what they do and I've watched what they did, for years prior to be these people. Was really nervous about today, and it ended up being a great day. The car performed really well. Looks like our oxygen sensor replacement cured the tuning issue, and the suspension held up great. It went over all the bumps up there pretty composed. I shed some time off of each run. I think I got down to under 3 minutes, so that'll put us trending positively towards a sub 11-minute run in the race. Yeah, so the week's moving really fast. I think that as a whole, the 3 or 4 of us are getting, into a routine of waking up early, getting to practice, getting through practice, getting the car back in the trailer, getting back to the dealership, servicing the car. But as the week drags on, we're up against a lot of different things. I mean, for one, we're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning every morning, and then it's not like we're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go play ping pong. We're going at 3 o'clock in the morning to go drive a race car up the side of a mountain, right? So there's a lot of fudge factor there. We're at elevation. We're all land lovers at sea level here, right? In Jersey, I grew up at negative 3 feet below sea level. Now we're at 9, 12, and then 14,000 feet for our 3 practice days. In a commercial airplane or private aviation, if you're above 12,000 feet for longer than 2 minutes, you're legally required to wear oxygen. So we're at 12,500 feet for 3 hours. If this was our competency at 4 a.m. unloading the car, as the 3 hours went by, by the time we got done, I wouldn't have been able to make a turkey and cheese sandwich. So then to make matters worse, as the last session goes by and everybody's trying to pack up their stuff, it becomes a sandstorm in the parking lot. And rushing to pack up the car and all of our gear, and we get in the truck and trailer, and everybody kind of does a self-assessment. They're we have everybody? Yeah, okay, good. Is the car strapped down? Yes. Great. Trailer's up, start driving down the mountain. I go to step on the brakes and I'm man, that feels really weird. I go to get back on the gas and I'm oh my God, I think my transmission's starting to slip. This is crazy. Every time I pulled away from a stop, I would just a clunk. Now, granted, Ford F-250, God rest his soul, just made it across the country, and now I was driving up down the mountain every day with a 25,000 pound car and trailer behind it. So always a little bit of room for thinking that there may be some damage being taken there. Tom is sitting in the passenger seat, looks at me and he goes, oh my God, I think the car's loose. You open up the trailer, and there's literally one strap. And somehow the car had turned the wheel and wedged itself between the front cabinets and the race ramps. We broke a little piece off the canard, and I think I dented a cabinet, and we messed up the alignment because that one strap was tugging on the front wheel, so it bounced up the toe. And that was it. But what could have been was so scary, I think, to all of us, that everybody was just kind of that's crazy, huh? Oh man, really glad that didn't happen. We were getting by the skin of our teeth that whole week, and there was just another example of how we got away with murder. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Tyler. We're down here at FanFest in Colorado Springs. I am super excited to have made it this far this week. This car has been running awesome on the mountain. I am super excited to be racing this thing up the hill on race day. So if you've been following along so far, thank you so much. I got to thank a lot of the sponsors that have helped us out. Toyota Tires, Winslow BMW, Apex Race Parts, my boys at Race Magic for the brake pads. The list goes on. Motool, thank you guys so much for helping us get out here for this awesome race. We can't wait to be back, and I think we will next time. So stay tuned for that. Race day. It's a special day. It's the culmination of, for many months of effort. And I think what makes Pikes Peak so special, one of the many things, is that months of preparation, or in our case 10 days of preparation, and then a week's worth of practice come down to what is one make or break 10-minute run. And I don't think there's anything else like that really in the world. For some, it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance. So you are putting so much on the line for that 10 minutes. It's incredible. And so you're trying to keep that in the back of your head, because you don't want to, while you don't want to understate the opportunity, you also don't want to overwhelm yourself with that whole deal and get to that moment where you need to perform and blow it because you're so preoccupied with your thoughts or your worries that day, right? Wake up super early, and a lot going on in your mind. A lot of it is weather. You know, what's the weather gonna be like today? Weather was always a factor at Pikes Peak, and so, you know, we wake up, we're getting up the mountain, and here comes this beautiful sunrise, and the helicopters are flying in for the cameras and the medevac and all this stuff, and you're like, all right, I don't know about you, I don't remember, there wasn't really many clouds in the sky that day. It was looking like a bluebird day, and that right off the rip, I think, gives everybody as a whole a lot of confidence for the rest of the day, that's not going to be this overlying factor to the whole day. And so that was a real positive. And I know I've referenced, like, you know, God a few times here in this interview, and I'm not really religious, but Pastor Don, who is a participant for the last couple of years, and he gives a sermon before Pikes Peak every year that he's been there, and it's for anybody who wants to participate, for the drivers, for their crew, for their families. He really knows how to deliver a good message for the day. And so we nestle in the woods there. There's probably about 40 of us, and we're looking up behind him in the trees is Pikes Peak's peak, and it's a very quiet setting, and he goes through his sermon and, you know, just talking about, like, giving thanks for the opportunity. You know, just be thankful to be here. So forget how your day goes, whether you crash out, your motor blows up, you don't make it to the top, or you do, you're still here. You're so unlike so many other people by just being there in that moment. You've got to give thanks to somebody. And for me, I struggle with that because, you know, I don't really have this strong higher power that I believe in, but I guess I do believe in God. And when you are served that by somebody who feels so strongly, it's like very overpowering. You just can't help but believe in that moment that you've got to be giving thanks to somebody else other than whoever you're walking the earth with, because otherwise, how would you have this opportunity? What's up, guys? Tyler from TYSPEED, and welcome to the race day for the 101st running of the Pikes Peak International Hillclimb. I am so excited to be here. I've got to thank a lot of people. The short list on that is Winslow BMW and Toyota Tires. There are two sponsors that came through at the last minute to help make this effort possible. So, weather conditions today are absolutely amazing. It couldn't be any better. The car is feeling good, I'm feeling good, and I can't wait to take that green flag for the start of this race. Nervous chatter going on between the drivers and their crews, and final checks on the cars and stuff. And, you know, for me, I'm usually a pretty outgoing guy and fast-moving, fast-talking, etc. I become the exact opposite of that usually on race day, with the sole goal of being able to perform when that green flag drops, when I have that opportunity to drive this car up that mountain. Be in a mental place where you are just going to be able to flow and do what it is you've been practicing to do for, in many instances, your whole life. Lay in bed as I'm closing my eyes, and I try to visualize that very moment when that car rolls up to that start line, and when that green flag drops, where your mentality needs to be when that happens.
on the way up the mountain, I talked about, I know Tyler from Root Life, and it's great to see him competing.
I was the oldest guy there out of all of us, and you know, I was worried about him. It could be scary, like just watching. You know, think about it. His average speed was 60 miles an hour going up that mountain. We drove up the mountain in a rental car doing 10, and it was scary.
My soon-to-be wife, probably will be wife by the time that this is produced, Julia, who has a pretty tough job, which is putting up with me, but she's just like this bystander to this whole thing going on. She's like giving me the pat on the back and the hug and the kiss on the cheek as I get in this race car, and she's like, am I gonna have a husband in 20 minutes? We're driving 110 miles an hour up the side of a mountain that has no guardrails. To that, we had a very unusual situation occur on race day, which was that
you've got sheep in the road up there, so I'm gonna have to turn you around, sit you down.
Okay.
But let me get permission first.
Copy.
Thank you.
You only get that one chance, so like in your head, you're like, oh my God, is it over? Did something fall off my car? Is there something leaking? Did I don't know, break a rule? Did I do something wrong? Then I like roll up and I crack the door open. The guy's like, yeah. He's like, we're gonna send you back down. You're gonna do it again. And I'm like, really? Now my mind's going a million miles an hour down. Now I'm racing back down this hill, right? And the fans are jumping up and down. They're all waving because it's like the first car they've seen going down backwards all day. And they think that's kind of funny. And I'm in my head just trying not to like beat up the car, like overheat the brakes, you know, trying to understand where the tires are at, trying to manage the engine temperatures, because we're trying to plan this out where like when that green flag drops, we're like the temperatures on the engine and everything are not like too hot, so that we have some leeway to get to the top. So I'm like, oh my God, like this is gonna screw us because now the engine's fully up to temperature and everything's hot and we've got to do this again. I was like, I did a pretty good job of managing the temperatures on the engine coming back down the hill, and now I'm fresh. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm getting another practice, but I'm not even waiting for getting to go again. And I'm speaking to you about being able to perform at this level where you can just repeat this performance. I got back in that car and got sent back up on that second run, and through that first sector I was something like 3 hundredths of a second off from my first run to the next over the course of like 75 or 100 turns. And I am not a mathematician and I'm not an engineer, but I'd like to be able to just express to anyone watching at home, like, that wasn't something that I consciously tried to do, but there is a demonstration for you of what I'm talking about. It's just being able to hit your marks like that, like under pressure, and being able to regurgitate all those things out so that it just makes this smooth picture. Like, and to be able to demonstrate that in real time was reassurance for me that I should be there, because I am performing at the level of a professional athlete.
back.
Thank you.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, did. Absolutely.
Animals off the roof?
I think so. I didn't see any. I made it up there, and I get into the clubhouse, the restaurant, whatever, at the top, the peak there, and I get my little turkey sandwich and my little donut, and I'm like, and I feel like this loner kid that I was in high school walking around the cafeteria with my lunch tray of who the hell do I sit down next to? And I take my little lunch tray and I go down and I sit next to Tanner Faust and Reese Millen, and I start eating my sandwich and having a conversation with them as a peer. And I don't think that I can put it any differently than that, because I spent all this time as a kid not having anyone to sit next to in school because I was ostracized for what it was that I wanted to do. And now I'm sitting down next to my idols at the same table, doing the same thing as them. And it was a really good moment for me. A lot of struggles that week with, should we be here or not, or do I feel like I deserve to be here or not? And I think as the event played on and we continued to show well and we made it through each day of practice without issue, we didn't do anything stupid, we didn't crash the car, we didn't break any rules, and et cetera, et cetera. I think that the event organizers and our fellow competitors, in a very background way to their very own stories that they're living out that week that they were there, especially the people that we're close with, like Scott and Pastor Don and all these other guys, people begin to take note, and they're like, all right, well, these guys are literally showing up with 3 people and this race car that they hacked together for this event with 10 days notice, and they're like, hey, they're up here every day, and they're making it through practice every day, and they're here on race day. And I think that means something to people that you're there with. Much to my surprise, on Sunday night, I get an email from the race director, and they were like, we're going to be giving you an award. And I'm like, what award did I get? Because I didn't go that fast, so I can't, couldn't have been anything performance related. And it turns out that they have this award that they started in 2020, which was presented by Alcon Brakes, called the No Holding Back Award. And I don't think that it could have been written for any better story than ours for this year. But I certainly wasn't participating at the level where I thought we were going to receive that award, because we're up there, everybody else is up there with us telling their own story, doing the same things, overcoming adversity, making sacrifices and leaving it all on the line to be able to perform in that race. And
on to what this award is about. It's all about spirit, commitment, drive, determination, and there's plenty of guys that deserve this prize, but there's one that stands out. The Ty Pappas has built a car in no time at all, the recipient of this check that we have, which is for $12,000. Anything else?
So for the race organizers and my fellow competitors to have formally recognized our efforts in a way where we were given one of the biggest awards that is handed out for that event, which is a $12,000 Alcon brake sponsorship. And that was really cool. And I probably gave the worst speech of my life. The front row is Larry Chen is taking my picture, and Jeff Zwart is standing next to him. He's staring back at me as I'm staring back at him. And I'm like, it was definitely reassurance that the whole thing was worth it. And I think the impact that we had, I was welcomed and invited for a reason. And that my hope was that we would be able to continue to be invited back. It's such a cool event, and I don't think it'll be going on forever, but it's been going on for 100 years before us. And if I have a kid someday, for him to be able to go back and see his dad's name in that book of people and be a participant in this event that's so special to so many people and holds such a high regard in the motorsport community, I really don't think that I'll ever have to do much else. We talked a lot about the sacrifices that have to be made. I just wanted to round this out by giving thanks to the people that
help support me, whether it be day to day or you know, when we're actually there doing this kind of stuff. And racing is a weird sport because only one guy can drive the car. But if you take a step back and you realize all of the parts and pieces that go into being able to participate and understand the amount of people that have to be involved to allow you to participate, I think that people would be surprised. I mean, you watch TV and you see NASCAR, and sure, there's a pit crew and there's a team and there's all these people that are helping get this car on a racetrack. That's pretty obvious. But if you took a further step back and you look at what one of those drivers' lives looks like, you know, at home and when they're not at the track, and understand the support system that they have to be that successful person that they are, to be able to participate at a high level, I think you'd be surprised, you know, what goes into that. And so I just think that it's worthwhile to kind of mention, you know, the folks that help support me, you know, whether it be, you know, my own wife to be at home, Julia, and just allowing me to be who I am and to support me as a person and allow me to participate in this sport and not be overwhelmed with fear or you know, too much anxiety about allowing me to participate in this dangerous event, or whether it be, you know, my brother who showed up and took a week off of work to run around, you know, as a pit crew member, not knowing anything about being in a pit crew other than just wanting to support his brother, whether it be yourself and giving up everything that you did for that week to be there with us, to get up every morning at 3 a.m. and, you know, invest in equipment and time, and I'm sure you could have been doing other stuff with your life, but you gave up that week to be there with us. And then you helped me drive home, and, you know, you made a lot of personal sacrifices to be there. Tom, you know, who, you know, is a co-owner of this car and somebody who really started off this whole idea of being able to have this here at the shop. It's really tough to even communicate the amount of support that he's given to me, and our relationship is relatively new. I mean, he's put a lot of trust in me to do the right thing, so I've got to thank him as well, and even everybody on the back home level. Like, I run a business that is supported by employees that work hard every day so that we can have the opportunity to put our name on the side of a race car and go compete against the best people in the business. And I wouldn't have the time away. You know, the business operated while we were gone, and we wouldn't be able to do this without the people that are supporting the business on the ground level. And that goes all the way back to the clients that have come back for year after year to trust us with their cars, and been able to continue to support our efforts and encourage us to continue on our journey. You know, the list goes on. I just am very thankful for everything. And I struggle with this, but I think to myself that even if tomorrow was my last day on earth, you know, how would I feel about the life that I've lived already? And I am extremely thankful to be who I am and to be in this place and to have had the opportunities that I've had so far. And I hope to continue to yield new ones. And I hope to continue to forge new relationships that bring new opportunities. I am just really happy to have followed my internal voice and passion for all these years that have allowed me the courage to do this against so many odds, and I just couldn't do it without the support of my friends and family. So if you're watching at home, and even if you're watching this video, thank you for your support in what it is that we do here. I really appreciate it.
Are you going back next year?
$1 million question. It's actually like the $50,000 question, because that's about what it costs every time we get this idea to go. What up? It's what's left of the TYSPEED gang, dude. We are here at Vandermeer Speedway in Morrison, Colorado. It's been a long f***ing week, hasn't it, Vinny?
Yeah, we got pretty kicked in the butt this week, but it was a good one nonetheless. Learned a lot, did a lot. Can't seem to leave at the moment.
Yeah, yesterday was Tuesday. Had a lot of trouble getting out. We had everybody that was still here had to get home to New Jersey. There was all kinds of delayed and canceled flights. One of those canceled flights being Vinny's. So he has so graciously volunteered himself, I'm going to use that in parentheses, volunteered to help me drive the rig home to New Jersey. So definitely fortunate to have a good guy like this here with me, because he's going to save me
a little bit of driving. I'm pretty beat. I know he's pretty beat. And but we'll be back here in 363 days. About 363 days. I think we're planning on being back right here to do this all over again. So thanks for following along this whole trip. It's been an absolute blast. I can't believe what we managed to pull off in not a lot of time with not a lot of resources. And that's it, man. We're going to get back to the drawing board and hopefully gear up for 2024. So we'll see you at the 102nd running of the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb.